back to Money Chat. When you're a new business, it's tough to get your name out there and have people use your product or service, especially if you're a young business owner. Annette Mago at Pana Club came up with a way to help millennial and other business owners get noticed and potentially get paid. She joins us right now. Hey there, welcome.
Hello, Trina. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Tell me about Pana Club.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's really funny sitting here talking to you because I went to school for art, right? So I'm sitting here talking to you about local economies, and it's kind of like a moment of like, you know, how did this happen, right? Mm-hmm. So just like to walk you through it, for like a year before I graduated college, I started my first small business.
Wow.
So I decided that I wanted to make clothes, and I was doing all of the things that small businesses tend to do when they start out, right? You know, head of marketing, head of branding, manufacturing, going to market, doing the sales, customer service, absolutely wearing all of the hats. And it was a bit of a struggle.
I bet.
Yeah, and most small businesses are familiar with this kind of, you know, this kind of fight.
Yes.
To get the attention of the people around you. And, you know, as time was going on, maybe 2 years I was developing my small business, I actually ran into another small business owner at a market, and something really phenomenal happened. We became best friends.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, we became best friends, and we started helping each other out and really supporting each other in our industry, in our businesses, even though we have completely different industries, right? Like I did clothing, she did food, right? And you would think that there's no intersection, but we would still help each other when it came to, you know, recommendations on markets, recommendations on, you know, what sort of products to use. So it built this network of support, and that's where my aha moment came, right? It was like this beautiful network of support, everybody should have access to this. And another thing that I noticed was that we were all facing the same problems, right? We all were struggling with our marketing. We all were struggling with our branding, our, you know, connecting to our audiences. And then, of course, like the rising cost of living here in South Florida has been really taxing, especially since the pandemic, when all of this was happening. So that's where the concept for Pana Club came in. And just to, you know, you might not know, but Pana is, I come from a Venezuelan background, my co-founder, she's Puerto Rican. You know, Pana is our way of saying friend. So that's where our tagline comes from, Yo tu pana, tu la mía, is, you know, I'm your friend and you're mine. We're creating a network of friends that are helping each other out. So, you know, really, the mission, the overall mission of what Pana is trying to create is a hub that connects you, that connects everybody to all things local in South Florida, whether that is creatives, artists, small businesses, organizations, you know, whatever you would like to find, you know, have that available to you within the click of a button.
Phenomenal. And so now, what kinds of businesses have you helped so far? And I guess we also should have you walk through the process of how you actually do it. How does someone get on your site? How does someone use your service?
We have anywhere from tattoo artists to creatives, mechanics, you know, bakeries, like absolutely everything that is based in South Florida. And the process is actually relatively simple. So you go onto our website, it's www.panamia.club, so PANAMIA.CLUB, real fast. And then there's a button there that says Become a Pana, so become a member of our directory. And it's about a 5-minute process just to sign up and to create a profile. And what this does is that it takes the burden off of the small business of having to reach their audience, right? Because we are attracting the conscious consumers, attracting the people that want to support local, and all they have to do is type in whatever it is that they need. So think about your daily routine, right? Like you wake up in the morning and you go out to get your cup of coffee, right? Usually you'll go to Starbucks. Or like you need a haircut, maybe you might go to a Supercuts, right? So the idea is that instead of, you know, taking that money and giving it to, you know, corporations that don't really have any stake in the environment that is around us, And you search on our website, same thing, coffee, hair, and you find exclusively locally based businesses. So you are reinvesting that money into the local economy.
What a wonderful idea. And so, is there a relationship with you, with those businesses throughout the process? I mean, or is it just a connection?
It's just the connection. We also have like a lot of systems in place that we are starting to build in order to really provide more and more resources. So for example, one of the things that we want to implement is we want to create like a system of discounts and coupons that we offer to the people that are using our directory. So that's an incentivization for people to support these small businesses through and use our directory more often. And one of the other things specifically for the small businesses, the creatives that are signing up, what we really want to do is partner with nonprofits that are providing these services for small businesses. Like for example, Catalyst and Radical Partners, just to name a few off of the top of the head, are nonprofits that we are collaborating with to provide resources like that.
That is fantastic. And I guess, where do you want to take this eventually? Because you're still kind of in the infancy stage, but what's your main goal with what you want this to become? That's
an excellent question. So I spoke a little bit about regenerative economies and looking at your environments, especially people as assets, right? So just to give you an idea of the range of this asset, there are 6.1 million people living in South Florida. 16% of those people are self-employed, right? And if we're looking at Florida as a whole, there are 3 million businesses, 99% of which are small businesses.
Yes.
And if we're looking at the workforce, 49%, actually it's 40% of the workforce is employed by these small businesses. So the local economy has a huge, huge impact on really like how we interact in our day-to-day. So I'm not looking to completely change our systems and our economies and all of that. Really what I want to do is create this shift in mindset for a lot of people, because I feel as though as consumers, right, you look at everything that is happening in the world, especially when it comes to like a lot of the monopolies, like when you go on into the supermarket and you know that there are all of these choices that you see on the shelves, but really it's like one company that owns everything, right? Which is why we have the price gouging that we see in diapers, for example, 184% up, right? So what I want to do here is I want to give people an alternative. I want people to know that there are ways that you can really use your purchasing power to invest in a future that you want to see.
We only have like a minute left, but a couple of things. What's been the response and how fulfilling has this been for you?
This has been incredibly fulfilling. It's definitely been like a crazy journey, and I've gotten a lot of responses. Some of them have been really interesting. A lot of people have been waiting for something like this to happen for a very long time, and I really feel like I'm filling a necessity overall. And the other response has been like, I don't want to share my resources because what if the other person turns out to be more successful than me? And to that I say really like our main competition here is really like the people that own the majority of the market share, right? So in order for us to really be successful, we need to be able to help each other. And that is really the main idea behind this organization that I've created. It's really to make sure and like really build a structure of support for everyone, all of the small businesses that we see here in South Florida.
Fantastic, brilliant idea. And I love that you're pouring your lifeblood into other people. It's just phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
And money doesn't guarantee happiness, but it does provide tranquility and security. Learn to use it wisely, and we'll see you next time right here on Money Chat.